Magandang araw mga kaproyekto. Welcome to Proyekto Pilipino. And as we promised, this is our episode now that hopefully will lead us into action, into creating our own proyekto to help alleviate the problem of malnutrition, especially for children below 5 years old. We're very fortunate. Nagpapasalamat ho kami na narito bilang panauhin natin. Paliwanag sa atin ang science behind nutrition. Isa sa pinaka ginagalang ng mga nutritionist sa UP, no? UP Luchie. At saka very active siya lalo na sa larangan ng sports, no? Silang mag-asawa, si Dr. Herc at si Luchie. So welcome Luchie to Proyekto Pilipino.
Thank you po for inviting me.
Thank you for accepting. No? So of course, nagpakilala kanina mas maaga si Dr. Leloy at si Carlo. So siguro Luchie, can you explain to us, di ba, the science behind why nutrition is very important, no? For the first, sabi nga nila 1,000 days na or sa ano pa, di ba? In the womb pa, importante na, of course, no? But especially Yes, go ahead, Luchie, go ahead.
The first 1,000 days kasi refers to conception up to 2 years of age.
Okay.
So if you talk about it in terms of months, that's 9 plus 12 plus 12. Di ba? So 24 plus 9 is 33 times roughly 30 days in a month. That's 990. So ginawa na lang nila 1,000 days. So meron po iyan Republic Act, no? Yung Republic Act RA 11148, which is referred to as the first 1,000 days law. Kasi nga, nakikita po ng mga tao sa gobyerno, yung mga gumagawa sa mga laws, na importante po, hindi lang child health or infant health, but maternal health. Kasi ang maternal health will have a profound effect on the health of the infant, of the fetus. Yun po. So kaya po gumawa nung kanon para meron po isang, parang the mother is in an environment na na-allow siya na meron provision for early child care. Napaka-importante po kasi yon. Kasi hindi lang po child care, kundi child care interventions, yung mga anong pwedeng gawin. Halimbawa, no, baka kailangan niya ng mga vitamins, no? Baka kailangan niya ng baguhin ang kanyang dieta. Meron lang po talaga dapat consistent na pagbisita sa eksperto. So yun po, dapat po ganon kasi whatever happens in the womb, paglabas ng bata, ano na yun? Hindi yun ang start. No? Ano lang yun? Tutuloy-tuloy lang. Sorry.
Professor Luchie, sa previous episode po namin, nandito po si Dr. Shell Habito at pinaliwanag niya sa amin yung konsepto ng pagkabansot or yung stunting. And sabi niya, nangyayari nga yun dun sa first 1,000 days. So, kung hindi naagapan before 5 years old, stunted na for their entire life yung bata. Paano po nangyayari yun nutritionally at bakit kailangan maagapan ng sobrang aga? Bakit parang permanent yung effect kung hindi maagapan ng maaga?
Alam niyo po, ang stunting ay isang malaking problema talaga sa Pilipinas, no? Noong 2013, no, 30.3% lamang ang may stunting. Ngayon po not ngayon, no, pero 2015 ganoon 33.4% na. So we are seeing a rise in stunting. So para sagutin ang tanong mo, bakit importante ang nutrition para sa growth palette, no? That is because we are supposed to triple your birth height and double your birth weight by the time you reach the age of 1. No? So, paano mo yung gagawin kung wala kang kung hindi tinuturo sa parents yung proper breastfeeding procedures? Na ayokong maging controversial dito at baka sabihin ng mga tao, paano yung mga ayaw mag-breastfeed? Well, that is their choice. Okay? Ayaw nila mag-breastfeed. Pero as an expert, I will say breastfeeding You don't give anything else until the child reaches, the infant reaches 6 months. Some people will say 4 months, pwede na mag-start ng mga weaning foods. Pero ang breast milk po, maski kumakain na, pwede pa din. Some mothers will breastfeed up to the age of 2. I breastfed all my children until the age of 1 year and 8 months. Hindi ko na masustain kasi wala nang lumalabas. Ayun pa, isa pa yon, no? Sasabihin ng mga mothers na hindi sila breastfeed kasi wala naman daw gatas. What makes the milk production good is the actual act of breastfeeding. Stimulate yung production ng milk kapag ikaw ay nagbe-breastfeed. So if you don't give it a chance, then sayang yung breast feeding. Okay? So to reduce stunting, and wag na po natin ilagay sa stunting lang. Ilagay na natin sa buong word na malnutrition, no? Kailangan talaga good feeding practices, not just for the infant and the child, but for the mother as well. When I say malnutrition, it refers to both undernourished and overnourished. A fat child, an obese child, is not a healthy child. Sasabihin na, uy, cute. Hindi po siya cute, no? Obese siya. So, ang mindset na ganon, no? Hindi po maganda kasi ang habits ng bata are established very early in life. Even before the age of 2, no? You feed them already. If you don't start them with good food, good choices, then wala pong mangyayari. Pagdating nila ng age of 2 and above, ang hirap ng baguhin ang mga habits na pangit. So, ganun po ang ginagawa sa first 1,000 days. You establish a foundation that is solid, no? Kumbaga. Ayun po.
Okay. So talaga palang ang daming information na dapat ibahagi, Luchie, you were saying that the 33%
yes,
is 2015 statistics, no? So are there any projections that you know of, any scientific projections, statistical projections?
Actually po, meron ng a later one, so I am sure na pero as to the numbers themselves, hindi po ako sure, pero there is an upward trend.
Okay. And lately, just a few days ago, there was this announcement that the government, the president led the group that will say they will fight this, they will fight this major problem of malnutrition, and they did mention stunting, as a major. In fact, Carlo was talking about it earlier. Carlo, could you share more about that?
Nakita ko lang siya kahapon sa news files. It's called the Philippine Multi-Sectoral Nutrition Program
Yes.
under DOH and DSWD. And from what I heard, they're getting a $10 billion loan from the World Bank. So that's very good news, no, Prof?
Yeah.
It's
napakagandang news po yon. Gusto ko po sana kayong imbitahin, no? Because I'm also active in a group called the Philippine Society of Nutritionist Dietitians, PSND. Okay. No? So we are going to have our yearly convention on September pa nga lang no? Medyo matagal. But we are going to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Prof. Luchie, may nabanggit po si Dr. Habito last time na sinasabi niya yung first 5 years, ang nangyayari, kulang sa protein yung mga bata. Kasi nga in the Philippines, I guess a generalization is we're carbohydrates heavy yung natin, mahilig sa kanin. So sinasabi niya we're sorely lacking in proteins. As a nutritionist, dietitian, how can we address this?
Okay. So isang napaka prevalent to practice ng mga mothers is when the child reaches school age, no? At hindi na po siya nagbe-breastfeed, bibigyan siya ng gatas, di ba? Okay, gatas na lang, hindi na yung breast milk kasi wala na. Pero po, pag umabot na po siya na, nag-school na siya, nababawasan yung gatas. Okay? Especially if may dumating na pangalawang baby. Okay? Nababawasan na siya. Okay? Isa pa po, hindi po minsan na-afford talaga ng ating mga kababayan na bigyan sila ng magandang klaseng protina. But that is a misconception. Good protein does not necessarily have to be expensive. Okay? And we don't really need all that much protein. No? We can survive on, a piece of chicken or fish. So, hindi po kailangan palaging karne. Vegetable protein is just as good. Okay? And it's not as expensive. So, pwede po yun umpisahan sa mga bata. So, I don't...
ano pong halimbawa ng mga vegetable protein?
Well, munggo. No?
Okay.
Legumes, okay? At halos lahat ng gulay meron naman. But of course, not in amounts as large as animal proteins. But we don't even say anymore that you have to have complementary proteins pagka kayo ay nasa mostly plant-based. So, kung meron pong gatas, tapos meron vegetables kagaya ng mga toge, legumes, or munggo, beans, no? Tapos meron kayong konting karne, okay na po yun sa bata. Okay?
Kasi complete na po yung tinatawag na amino acid profile if you have all of those proteins.
Oo, kompleto. No, basta ang ginagawa nga namin, may mix and match, gano'n. Para kompleto po. Kompleto. Pero pag meron naman ng gano'n, gatas is complete. Tapos nga, and he doesn't have to drink like 3 glasses of milk a day, no? Hindi. Just make sure na meron. Pero again, my main concern is breast milk. Kung kaya pa. Kasi I know of mothers who breastfeed until the age of 4 na yung bata. I don't have any complaints about that. I was breastfed until I was 4. Naglalaro ako sa labas. Time out. Tatakbo ako nanay ko. Tapos magdedede ako. So I don't have anything against that. Now, you mentioned protein. But actually, for infants, kaya nga yung first 1,000 days are so critical. Sorry. Sorry. There are 8 essential nutrients. So hindi lang po protein na kailangan meron ang either kakainin ng nanay para meron siyang ibibigay sa fetus or ibibigay na sa bata pag it's carotenoids, which is carotene. So meron yan sa carrots, no? Tapos choline, of course, folate para hindi magkakaroon ng mga problema yung bata, no, doon sa kanilang condition. Iron para sa dugo, di ba? And there is what we call omega-3 fatty acids. Napaka-importante yung para sa utak, so development. And then vitamin D. Ang mga mothers, no, pagka labas ng baby, lalagay na yan under the sun, di ba? Para ma-activate. Hindi po nanggagaling sa araw ang vitamin D, pero kailangan mo yung rays ng sun para ma-activate yung vitamin D. So, kailangan meron kang vitamin D. So,
kasi ang Professor Luchie, ang alam ng lahat, di ba, ibilad sa araw lang.
Bilad sa araw. Importante po yung pagbilad sa araw para ma-activate yung vitamin D.
So, ibig sabihin po nun, kung hindi malusog yung nanay, hindi rin malusog yung breast milk, nagkakaroon ng kakulangan din sa baby.
Ay, hindi po. Kasi po, ang ganito po, ang ganda, ang galing po ng Diyos, no? Ang ginagawa niya, ang number 1 priority niya is the infant, the baby.
Okay.
So what the body does actually to the mother is it cannibalizes the mother. No? So kulang ng nutrient. Usually it's let's say calcium to build the bones of the infant. That's why we have mothers who suffer from, calcium deficiency kasi kinakannibalize ng katawan para ibigay sa infant. So, kailangan ng mother, kaya napaka-importante ng prenatal care para ma-prevent. No? Kasi I am sure na yung gynecology, yung obstetrician niya, bibigyan siya ng mga supplements, kumbaga, para hindi mangyari yung ganong klaseng condition.
Professor Luch, it's more of the health of the mother, no? During the first,
Yes po, because the umbilical cord will be the conduit na magdadala ngayon ng mga nutrients na kailangan ng baby.
Okay.
Kung wala sa nanay, meron pa nga pong mga, although this is not substantiated, pero we've seen it in some cases, no? Na if the mother likes a certain food, when the baby comes out, that is what she likes. No? So meron in situ, no? Doon na de-develop yung likes and dislikes ng bata. And it's wrong for us to say that the child has no taste buds. Meron pong taste buds sa bata. Why else will they spit it out if they don't like it, di ba? So, pwede po tayo, of course, again, first 6 months, pure breast milk. Okay? Wala pong ibang klaseng gatas. Pero pwede na mag-follow on food by the time the 6 months comes in.
Yeah.
You start with, you can start with simple egg po. No? Although, again, kunting-kunti lang. Just to let them taste it. No? Squash, boiled squash na i-blender mo para malambot. No? Meron na po yung carotene na sinasabi ko. Carrots nga. Okay? Just make sure that the child does not react violently in terms of allergies. Then you're good to go. You build up on that. No? Mothers are actually very good. So they are generally, they will just listen. There is such a thing as the child is the one that dictates. That dictates what you will feed him for weaning. Now, weaning means to take away from the breast, from breast milk or from milk. You wean them away. So meron pong school of thought na it should be the child who will dictate what that is. But of course, the mother should also make sure na kung ano man ang ginugusto ng bata, is good for him.
Okay.
So yung isa pa pong follow-up lang po, most of our questions galing po sa mga nabanggit ni Dr. Habito and we want to get the nutritional angle. Ang sabi niya, yung worst effect daw talaga of malnutrition is yung nangyayari sa utak ng mga bata. Can you describe po for us kung ano nangyayari sa brain development? Paano po nangyayari yun na nauudlot yung brain development through malnutrition? And what causes it in the Philippines?
Throughout the first 1,000 days of life, a child's developing brain will expand and will develop. Okay? And in order to nourish that, you need to have good nutrition. Okay? Your brain thrives on nutrients. Okay? On nutrients. So if you do not feed them, but you know guys, there is no such thing as brain food naman. Okay? Sabi nilang peanuts. That's not, there is no such thing. Okay, let me go back to the cardinal rule of nutrition, and that is balance. There are three actually: balance, variety, and moderation. But for a child, it's more the balance and the variety. Okay? So dapat na andun lahat. There has to be energy. There has to be building blocks. What are the building blocks? Protein nga, which you mentioned kanina. And actually there has to be some fat because we need the fat to also develop the brain. Zinc is also important, no? That's why fish in the diet is also good. Okay? There are what we call trace minerals, no? And zinc is one of them. Folic acid nga, as I said, iodine also is important because these are what will develop or enhance fetal neural development. Okay? Now, you reach a certain age na hindi ninyo binibigyan ng enough energy, let's say, the child becomes lethargic. No? Walang energy. Ayaw maglaro, ayaw tumayo man lang. So, ibig sabihin lang yun, listen to the child. Listen to even if they don't know how to talk, you can notice naman telltale signs that something is wrong. No? So, ano siya, anong tawag mo doon pagka wala siyang energy, no?
Matamlay. Matamlay. Yeah.
Mag-review ka, ano kinakain ng bata? Baka kulang pala. Hindi pala kulang sa protina, kundi kulang sa carbohydrates, which is your energy source. Diba? So, most naman, ito, past the 1,000 days of life. But school-age children, okay, please reminding the mothers that breakfast is very important. Okay? Do not let your child go to school na hindi siya nag-breakfast. Kasi hindi po yan makaka-concentrate. Kayo kaya subukan ninyo. Mag-meeting kayo na gutom kayo. Hindi na kayo nakikinig, di ba, sa beauty kasi nag-aantay na lang kayo ano kaya merienda.
What are the programs now, Luchie, being implemented by government or the private sector? And what can we do? What more can we do, no?
Okay. That I'm not very familiar with the government. Pero meron pong isa na I actually think that it died a natural death. Sugar, yun, pagbabawal ng sugar-sweetened beverages sa mga eskwelahan. Okay? Napaka-importante po yun. Kasi hindi po pwedeng yun ang source ng energy ng bata. Okay. Sugar. Okay, sugar is not a good source. So that law well, it did become a law, but it is the implementation that is sorely lacking. Na the school cannot sell sugar-sweetened beverages. Paglabas naman ng bata, naandoon ang mga sari-sari store. So doon na sila bibili. So nag-expand ng konti yung law para sabihin na certain meters, no, yung distance, hindi pwede. Pero again, it is in the implementation na nagkukulang. So isa po yun na programa. Okay? Most of the programs, meron po programa na hindi po nutrition, kundi yung kila Herky sa exercise. Kasi po ako, I always believe that the health of a person is not just nutrition, but physical activity, no? Exercise, ganun-ganon. So meron po sila with the DOH, no? Yung, okay. It's called SIPA. What is SIPA? Short intermittent physical activity. Okay? Hindi po yan law, but it is an advocacy that is put forward by experts to get people to become more active. Okay, so yun. Ano pa ba ang mga ano? Meron po kasing yun, sustainable development goals. No?
Ano po ibig sabihin nun? Yung short intermittent activity. Ibig sabihin po, minsan tatayo tayo, we do a couple of jumping jacks, or we just roll around a little bit in the middle of the day, ganyan mga, or we just shake our body a little bit.
Well, all of the things that you said are what you can do, but when do you do it? SIPA is an answer to the World Health Organization's directive that you are supposed to break 60 minutes of sitting down with 2 to 4 minutes of physical activity. So, kagaya ngayon po, we have been sitting down for about 30 minutes. Okay pa tayo. Pero pag umabot po sa 1 hour, tayo na po at yung sinabi mo kanina, no, na gusto mong gawin, Dr. Leloy, yun, calisthenics, just move. No? You need to go to the toilet. You go to the farthest toilet there is. Just jumping jacks might not work for everyone because it's very violent, no? Pero just do air walks, just do something physical.
Yeah.
Well, ako, if I can just share, because I'm very attached to this concept. I have exercise reminders around my room. So in my doorway, I have a pull-up bar. So pag lumabas ako ng kwarto para magbanyo, I do 1 or 2 pull-ups.
So good.
I have a treadmill. I have a treadmill in front of my desk. So sometimes I'll work with a treadmill, and then I'll have random kettlebells in the room. So I'm always moving. I'm a big advocate of this. I just had to share.
Ang galing.
Yun yung Professor Luchie, yun yung tinatawag na programang Contra Nerd.
Prof. Luchie,
I'll just ask one question, Carlo. With what Leloy shared and what you've been talking about, mahalaga yung number one, information. Kitang-kita natin sa narinig natin kay Professor Luchie, information. Number two, yung bang i-empower ang mga pamilya or ang mga community na maraming magagawa on the community level, on the family level. Like example, di ba, isa sa mga narinig natin to during the pandemic, yung bang backyard gardening, di ba? Kasi para magtanim ng mga gulay, napakain sa mga bata. So marami palang posibilidad na gano'n. We don't need to wait for the grand programs, di ba? And but maybe having said that, no, pero suportahan ng gobyerno yung mga ganong initiative, no?
Yes.
But really localize the implementation, no?
You wanted to say something kanina, Carlo?
Actually, it's in line with Father Tito was also saying, because I suppose the reason why we have the problems of stunting is because lack of resources then for some families.
Yeah.
And there comes a point when hindi na talaga nila kayang i-afford yung balanced nutritional diet. So I was wondering, Prof, if you have any numbers na para lang ma-contextualize natin, how much would it need to provide for a family or even for one child, yung first 1,000, in terms of numbers, how much do we need?
Ayun ang hindi ko alam, no, kung how much you will need, pero definitely sinabi dati ng Christmas na 500 pesos daw. May challenge ng 500 pesos para gumawa ka ng isang Noche Buena.
Parang
ginawa ko yun, hindi pa nila alam, pero gagawin ko yun sa mga estudyante ko. Tignan nga natin kung kaya ninyo 500 pesos para sa isang pamilya na 4. But no, I can't. I'm sorry, but siguro si Dr. Habito pa mas makakabigay sa inyo noon. Pero ang gusto kong i-share ngayon yung sinasabi ko kanina na SDG, yung Sustainable Development Goals ng the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. At naandoon po yun responsible consumption and production. So yun po, doon po papasok, Father Tito, yun backyard gardening.
Okay.
No? And making sure, kakain ka nga ng pero is it safe? Yung ganun, no? So, naandito din po yung zero poverty, pero medyo mahirap po yun, no? Hindi pala zero poverty, zero hunger. So, yun po, nasa UN SDG. So, kami po sa kolehiyo, we are trying to educate. Like you said po, it is in educating people that we can see some gains, okay? Merong pangako dito na andoon yung nutrition, which is good health and well-being. If I'm not mistaken, that is SGD number 3. No, number 3. Kasi number 2 yung zero hunger. Okay? Hindi ko po alam kung nasaan na yun pag-attain ng mga goals na ito. Kasi ang alam ko, by 2030, dapat na 2023 na, 10 years na lang. Malapit na, pero marami pa rin po tayong mga kababayan na nagugutom. Okay? Or walang good health ay nagkukulang.
Okay.
Yun po. Ah, yung mga
So,
sinasabi na
sige po.
sige, sige.
Actually, I just wanted to make it quite concrete. Sabihin po natin meron tayong 5-year-old. Katamtaman po, hindi naman po malaki, hindi naman malnourished, or 4-year-old rather.
Sige.
What would a day of feeding that person look like for you in na medyo abot kaya naman, pero
Okay.
nutritious?
Oo. So, sa umaga, siyempre, no, breakfast muna. Okay? Pwede pong maggatas, konting gatas. Ayaw ko po ng cereal. Sorry.
Ano po, cow's milk, low fat, full
No,
fat?
not low fat,
Doesn't
not low
matter.
fat. Not low fat. Kailangan
regular
po ng
milk.
brain development ang mayroong fat.
Okay,
Okay.
so full fat. Okay.
Oh, pero again, no, marami pong kukontra dito. Kasi sabi po ninyo nga, cow's milk, marami pong kukontra. Ayaw po nila ng cow's milk. Okay? Pero ako, gatas, no? Pagkatapos po nun, pwede po, instead of cereal, pwede po mag-oatmeal. O kaya po, itlog. Itlog is so healthy. Okay? And it is okay to eat 1 egg a day. Wag lang po sana palagi na lang fried. Okay? Pwede ka naman whatever you cook. Tapos kanin. And then kung pwede po, may prutas. Okay. Kung kaya niya ng gulay, bakit hindi? Pero usually, the gulay comes sa lunch and dinner. So meron na nun, no? Ang bata po, kakain yan after about 2 to 3 hours. So magme-merienda po. Yan. Ano po ang magandang merienda? Sige nga, sa inyong tingin, ano kaya ang magandang merienda para sa bata? Sige, I am your teacher.
Saba
Saging.
po, saba.
Saging na saba, oo.
Is very good.
Saging saba yan po ang paborito kong merienda ng bata ko.
Complex carbohydrate yan. Maganda yan.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hindi po siya simple. Anong simple? Yung mga asukal. Ano pa? Ano pa kaya? Saba, maganda yan.
Nung bata po ako, marami pong ginataan sa bahay. Bata ako.
Kamote,
Merienda.
kamote.
Kamote.
Oh.
Kamote, yes. So in other words po, Father, root crops. Okay po, crops, no? So, kamote, it's a sweet potato over potato. Mas gusto ko po ang sweet potato.
Okay.
And then po, pwede po tayong tinapay. Bakit hindi? No? Pero anong ilalagay mo sa tinapay? Huwag namang condensed milk, di ba?
O kaya mantikila at asukal, di ba? Nung mga bata tayo.
Ano kaya ang magandang lunch? Kanin po. Pwede pa rin magkanin. There is nothing wrong with rice. Okay? So, kanin. Kasi po,
hindi po kailangan brown rice yan, no? Kahit white rice, okay lang.
Oo, pero syempre, mas maganda ang brown, mas maganda ang may kulay na rice. Pero kung wala, okay lang po. Kasi the reason why I'm saying that rice is okay is because maraming adults na ayaw mag-rice. Huwag nyo isama yung bata. Okay? Mag-rice po siya. So, rice. Tapos, meron po tayong tinatawag na pinggang Pinoy. Okay? Ano ang pinggang Pinoy? Kukuha po kayo ng plato, tapos i-divide niyo into 4. Okay? 4. Ganyan. Tapos po, ang dalawang 1/4, gawin niyo 1/2. Nandun po dapat ang plants. No? Plants such as, mayroon ng plato, such as vegetables, no? And fruits. Hindi naman tayo maglalagay ng prutas sa plato, di ba? So ang gagawin niyo po, ilalagay niyo yung plato, thank you, sa ano. So ito po yung yung plato niyo, no? So i-divide niyo ng ganyan, kapag ganyan. So ito po sana iyan yung plant. Tapos itong naiiwan dito sa baba, 1/4 is your rice. Or if you're eating pansit, edi pansit. Or if the child is eating spaghetti, that is it already. And then the other 1/4 is your ulam. Okay? So what is your ulam? Well, of course, if you're eating rice, then siguro meron siyang sinigang, o kaya isda na bangus, whatever, no? matanda naman na ito 4 years old ito. Pagkatapos po noon, no, yung gulay na andoon sa plants, ano kaya mga gulay na gusto ng bata? Okay lang po yan sa kanila sauteed vegetables, no, chop suey, ganon. Or minsan, whatever is inside the sinigang will suffice. Okay. So yung rice po, huwag po ninyo gagawin na yung plato ng bata ay plato ninyo. Kasi mas malaki ang appetite nyo, mas malaki ang kaya ninyo. No? Because at this point also, you are establishing good eating habits. And if you are the one who is fixing the plate, and the plate is so big, and the plate is full of what you will eat, you as an adult will eat, and you expect the child to finish that. Otherwise, mapapagalitan
Tataba.
siya. O tataba yung bata. At saka hindi magiging positive yung kanyang relationship with food. Na palagi na lang siya pinapagalitan kasi hindi naman siya nakakaubos. Bakit niya pa uubos? Paano niya uubusin? Hindi naman yun yung appetite niya. Okay? So yun po yun kagandahan ng pinggang Pinoy kasi na tatansya ninyo kung gaano kadami dapat. So yun po, hanggang lunch na. Tapos the same holds true for merienda sa hapon, no? And then dinner po, ganun din. Pinggang Pinoy din po ang gamitin natin. Hindi po kailangan mahal. No, marami pong mga ulam diyan na ang tawag namin is one dish meal. Ibig sabihin lahat na kailangan ninyo na andun na. Tinulang manok, sinigang na baboy, di ba? O nilagang baka, o di kaya paksiw na. So,
paano po yung matamis pag naghahanap yung bata ng matamis? Kailangan po ba talaga hindi natin bibigyan ng dessert whatsoever?
Pwede naman po. Huwag naman po natin sa din, deprive, no? Kasi po, kung ide-deprive ninyo, siya po ay magre-rebelde lang rin. Pagdating niyo sa eskwelahan, ay, masarap pala. Ayun, turuan po natin. Meron po, di ba, 3 rules. Ang nasabi ko lang is variety and balance. Moderation po yung pangatlo. So kung gusto po niya ng something sweet, then a small slice of cake or ice cream is okay, no? As long as he knows that that's it. That he is not going to have that every meal, no? A good dessert will be fruits. Diba? Although for adults, eat your fruits before the meal. Actually, sa mga bata, sinasabi namin na yun. Eat the fruits before the meal. Yeah. So, all of that, okay, sige, go ahead.
So, we're about to, we just have 4 minutes po. So, I guess yung final question ka pa, Carlo, kasi ang final question ko lang is, ito yung kaya nating gawin bilang mga individuals. So, ano naman yung kailangan nating what should we ask for from our government in terms of para ma-ensure na yung nutrition ng mga bata mapangalagaan? Is it just information? What else do we need from our government?
Kasi nga you can teach and teach and teach, but if nothing is available for the family, then wala, no? So I would like to see in the future na ang gobyerno natin ay nakatuon ang pansin nga sa infant and child health care. Okay? I am sure that the Department of Health has something in this line, no? In this line. And there is the Food and Nutrition Research Institute, which is the FNRI. We have the National Nutrition Council, or the NNC, and work with them. No, I would like to see government work more with them, and then tap the local governments, the LGUs. Ang gaganda po ng mga programa ng LGUs na iba. No? Kasi medyo on your own na di ba, pag LGU. Usually the wife of the mayor is the one who is in charge of the nutrition program of the community, of the entire city. Okay? And meron pong committee, meron po yung grupo ng mga mayor's wives. and they talk about nutrition. So gusto ko yung ma-enhance, no? Ma-enhance lalo para mas maganda yung programa. More hands are better than just one or two working together. So isang napaka-importante, which is also part of the sustainable development goals, is to have partnerships, no? So that these partnerships will better address the needs of the child. We are still talking about the child here because the child will eventually grow up. Sabi ni Jose Rizal, ang bata ang future ng parang bansa gusto natin ng ating future ay rosy, no? So
I think that's napakaganda pong ending na yung Rizal, because this is a civics podcast, and yung civics, yung pagbuo ng Pilipinas bilang isang proyekto, maraming elemento to, pero hindi natin madalas pinag-iisipan is part of forming a country is actually feeding the country. So dapat natin tinatanong paano natin pinapakain ang ating sarili, paano natin pinapakain ang ating anak, paano natin pinapakain ang ating mga fellow Filipino at ating mga kababayan. At kung hindi natin sila pinapakain ng mabuti, kung hindi natin sila pinapakain ng masustansya, parang sinabi natin hindi natin sila mahal. Dahil sa Pilipinas, di ba, o sa maraming kultura, ang pagpapakain ay pagpapakita ng pagmamahal. At kung salat ang ating pinapakita, ang binibigyan ng pagkain sa ating mga kababayan, salat din yung ating pagmamahal. At nagkukulang tayo bilang mga Pilipino.
Tama po. Pwede po akong magdagdag man.
Of course, Prof. Of course.
One of the poorest of the poor in the Philippines are the fishermen and the farmers. So paano po natin sana matulungan itong mga producers ng ating kinakain, no? Yung farmers, yung fishermen, yung mga nagfa-farm ng mga isda, okay? Paano po natin sila matutulungan? Meron po ako isang grupo na I am a part of. It's called Rural Rising, Ruri House. It's such a simple project, but it has got so big na, no? But what do? They help the farmers. They help the farmers by bringing their produce to the consumers. So wala nang middleman.
Yeah.
Okay? You search that. You search for that, Rural Rising. And it's wonderful what they do because it's heartbreaking yung mga kwento ng farmers natin. Na tinatapon na lang nila ang mga kamatis, ang mga produce nila kasi walang bumibili.
Actually, ang ganda ho na binanggit niyo yan, Prof, kasi parang we came back full circle, no, Leloy? Kasi this whole episode on nutrition, on stunting, actually came from our episode on agriculture and how can we help our farmers and how do we address that bigger problem of feeding those who are feeding us. And I first, Lelo, I think to wrap it up, I would like to thank Prof. Luchie and our previous guest, si Dr. Shell, because the first step is of course information. And ako, eye-opener ho sa akin ito, na yung problems of stunting, and sabi nga ni Doc Shell, this is something we can address, and the first step is to inform the people what we can do. And now that we're talking to you, Prof, we want to get the particulars kasi maraming mga nakikinig sa atin na alam niyo naman, lalo na yung mga tumira na sa ibang bansa, they want to bring back to their community. Sometimes they have feeding programs, and we want to be able to say, okay, if you want to help, this is maybe a good way of putting your resources to work. And hopefully, Leloy, we can come up with the numbers, no, and we can keep on talking to experts like Prof. Luchie, and let's feed the nation.
Yes.
Yeah, let's feed the nation. Okay.
But I'm sorry, but I'm not very keen on feeding programs. Why? Because you feed them once. Di ba anong sabi? You
teach a man.
You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. But you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. So para sa akin, no, yes, feeding programs can help, but it also it creates in a person, in the adult, parang masyado siyang nakasandal doon sa ano. Kailangan, he also has to rise above his circumstances and better his life. Of course, with the help of all of these people in government, people in the private sector. Don't forget the private sector. Ha? Kasi ang dami nilang pwedeng gawin.
Ayun po. So I think on behalf of Father Tito and also Manolo and Carlo, maraming salamat po. At sana po makapag-usap tayo ulit. At sana po yung sad statistics bumaba na at talagang mapakain natin na maayos ang ating sambayanan. This has been Proyekto Pilipino. I'm Leloy Claudio with Carlo Santiago. Maraming salamat po.
Okay.